Hello and welcome to the GSBC podcast, brought to you by the Greater Springfield Chamber of Commerce. I'm your host, Matthew Taylor Farrington from Purple Bunny Marketing, and today I am joined by Samuel from Rising Sun Martial Arts. Welcome, thank you.
Thank you for having me, Matt.
That's all right. We'll dive straight into it. Obviously, you've got your martial arts space, I believe, in Bellbird Park. Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
So what motivated you to establish Rising Sun Martial Arts back in 2018?
So it's a little bit of a long story. My parents and I actually started the club in 2018.
Yes.
So it was my father's business name and ABN and all of that stuff under our instructor, Kyle Reba. So we were Kimura Chikara Martial Arts back then.
Okay.
And we wanted to start our own club because we didn't feel like we were getting as much opportunity to teach and affect people directly as we wanted to. Mm-hmm. So we created our own space to do that in at Kimura Chikara Martial Arts. Yep. When my parents moved away to Armidale for my mum's work in 2022, that's when I took over running of the business full time.
Yep.
And later that year in September, we changed the name to Rising Sun Martial Arts.
Yeah, wonderful. So it's had a bit of growth in that space, obviously, as well.
Yes, it has.
Yeah.
We started off from scratch with no students in 2018, and we've developed since then, and we're now just under 100 members.
Yeah, wow. Lovely. So your academy offers a range of programs, kids karate, Brazilian jiu-jitsu, and you're going to have to say the next one because I was going to say it and I was like, I'm going to just
Let me guess, Krav Maga?
Yes.
Yes.
So, yeah, that's correct?
That's correct.
Okay, perfect. So how do these disciplines differ in offering personal growth?
It very much depends on each student's individual learning goals. Mm-hmm. So we find that different students train in different martial arts for different reasons. So a child that's doing kids karate or kids jiu-jitsu are often looking for confidence. Their parents are wanting to instill some discipline into them, and that's why they're in that style doing that. Whereas someone looking for Krav Maga training, for example, they're looking for some more practical skills to use out in the real world in case they get accosted by someone or if they're looking for some direct self-defense training.
Okay.
And then people that are looking for the more athletic side of things like to train in Muay Thai or Zendo Kai or BJJ.
Okay, wow. I just thought it was all karate, so I'm very, not across how that all works. So that's interesting. And when I was doing some research before the interview, I was like, oh, wow, there's actually a lot to this, I guess, and not understanding that. So the emphasis on self-confidence and discipline is obviously evident in your mission, having a look through all of your stuff. But how do you integrate these values into the training methodologies?
Particularly for the kids, it comes about as a result of them getting more competent with their skill sets. Mm-hmm. So as they start to move through and achieve their higher ranks and as they start to develop their skill sets, they become more confident in themselves.
Yep.
And then we turn it with the adults as well, but with the kids particularly, we have a call and response kind of system.
Yes.
So we will ask questions in class and students will have to raise their hand and answer just like a normal classroom. Mm-hmm. And we find that really raises people's confidence and their ability to believe in themselves and answer their own questions and are more willing to contribute if they feel like the answer is coming from them.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. Obviously, you mentioned there that you've got the difference between children classes and adults, obviously. Mm-hmm. How do you tailor that teaching approach to cater to the different age levels and skill levels? Like, let's just say I was to walk through the doors, let's be clear, I got no idea. How do you tailor that to kind of cater to different skill sets and different levels of where people are at?
So the key to keeping things interesting and keep people coming back is novelty.
Yep.
And I'm sure that's key with every business, but in martial arts training specifically, we like to use a couple of different tactics for juniors and seniors and different skill levels. The key is keeping it challenging enough that people are engaging, but keeping it simple enough that they're not feeling too challenged and they don't want to quit.
Yes.
So with kids, that's often in the form of games, which they're training balance, coordination, situational awareness. And with adults, it's often different drills, different techniques, different training methods, using pads, doing stuff on their own, doing stuff with a partner. So there's a lot of different training modalities that we can utilize, specifically working with people and on your own,
Yep.
that keep it interesting and fun for everyone.
Yeah. Sounds interesting. Maybe I will have to come check it out. All right. Having a look through all your stuff as well, I noticed that community engagement appears to be a cornerstone of what you do with your academy. Can you share how Rising Sun Martial Arts contributes to the greater Springfield community?
Yes, I can. So there's a couple of different things I want to highlight in this space.
Yes.
The fatal stabbing that happened in Redbank Town Square,
Yes.
Violin White, last year, that affected us quite deeply because I've been living in Goodna my whole life, and I've been going to that shopping centre since it was built.
Yes.
So it's very close to home for us, and there were a lot of students and families of students that train with us that were affected by that.
Yep.
So we ran a personal safety course and personal protection course after that incident.
Yes.
It didn't have the attendance that we hoped for, but the people that did attend got a lot out of it.
Yep.
So they told us.
Yes.
So we just did that off our own backs because we thought that that's what the community needed at that point. And the other thing that we like to do is we like to get out into the community and try and raise money for causes that we are close to our hearts.
Yes.
So legacy is a big one for me because I'm a reservist, or I was an Army reservist.
Yes.
So I've been in and around veterans for a little bit of my life, and that's a cause that I like to get behind.
Yes.
My mother in particular also likes to get behind Share the Dignity, which is a charity that is doing very important women's work in the domestic violence space.
Yes.
So we've done some fundraising and stuff for those different organisations at different points, and we try and keep that up fairly consistently.
Yeah, wow. And I think, in this day and age, and especially in the Springfield community, we do feel that sense of community. But I do think it's important that business gets out and gives back when they can to support local community initiatives. And I think what you obviously put out there, although there wasn't much attendance, having that ability for people to feel safe, I guess, especially in a time where someone in their local shopping centre had just been stabbed, was very important and good thing. So, all right. Can you highlight a student success story that exemplifies, I guess, the transformative power of martial arts training?
There's a couple that spring to mind.
Yes.
But I will restrict it down to one person that we have training.
Yes.
They started off in our junior class in 2018 when we started.
Okay.
They are still training with us.
Yep.
But they went from being a shy junior student that couldn't do a full lesson on the floor without breaking down and getting too anxious to continue. So stopping halfway through, not being able to continue, not feeling like they could feel safe enough to keep continuing because of their personal anxiety and how bad they've been bullied at school.
Yes.
That person has continued their training and got to the point where they could do a whole class, and then got to a point where they could perform a grading in front of several hundred people, went through after 6 years to get their black belt in Muay Thai, and is now instructing the junior class that they started in.
Yeah, wow. So they've come full circle.
Yes.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think that's a great story, and it's obviously good hearing that basically the crux of what I'm hearing constantly is that it's just building self-confidence in people. The self-defense is obviously a mechanism there, but it's the confidence side there. All right. With the increasing interest in self-defense, especially among women, how does your academy address this need?
So it's important to highlight the fact that we have several high-ranking women that are in our club. My mother being probably the biggest example. She's doing her 4th degree black belt this year.
Yeah, wow.
She's actively training for that. And we also have several other high-ranking women who are 1st degree black belt, 3rd degree black belt, who are in and around the club. So it creates a safer space for women to feel like they can come in and get that support that they need to start their self-defense journey and also to continue it, because they have people to confide in when they're having issues.
Yes.
The other thing that we're doing is that we're working with a organisation which is based in Ipswich, and they run a program called Fearless, which they didn't directly tailor it for victims of domestic violence, but they had those people in mind developing the program.
Yes.
So they've asked my mum Megan to come on board as the instructor.
Yeah, wow.
And we're also providing the premises for that training. We'll get some more details later on once some more things are organised, but
yes,
we are providing that space for those women to get the training and have that space so that they can start that journey and start that recovery.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. I think, you turn the news on and you see it all the time. That DV space, unfortunately, is quite a big space. So having the ability for women to feel safe and potentially take some self-defense courses to support themselves is, I think, a wonderful thing. All right, so looking forward, what are your aspirations for Rising Sun Martial Arts? Obviously, you're running the business now. And are there any new programs or initiatives that we should be aware of or that you want to promote to the people today?
Yes, so there's a couple of different things. In the next 4 to 6 weeks, we will be starting the Rising Sun podcast.
Nice.
Which is going to be focused around the club, what we're doing week to week, things that are happening, different events that are on, and things like that. So we've done a screen test, we've done a pilot. We're happy enough with it.
Yep.
So we're going to get that moving, which is going to be a lot of fun.
Yes.
And we're also starting or bringing back, because we have run them before, is our beginners courses.
Okay.
So it's a 3-week program, 2 hours per week.
Yep.
During our normal class times, but we have a dedicated instructor work with people who have never done martial arts before or who want to try a new martial art.
Yep.
And then the goal with those is to take them from complete beginner to being able to do a full class without that instruction from a dedicated instructor.
Yep.
So it takes you from beginner to novice in a very short amount of time.
Yeah, wow. Okay.
6 to 12 months, what I'm hoping for is to get to a space where we can have our programs that run in the club, and then we can also go out into schools to have anti-bullying programs.
Yep.
To work with both the children that have been victims of bullying, to give them the confidence they need to stand up to the bullies so that they can be the champion of their own stories.
Yes.
And then also to work with the bullies to try and bring them back and give them a different perspective, because most of the time they're suffering in some way.
Yes.
As the phrase goes, hurt people.
Yes.
So it's important to not just work on the victims of bullying, but also to work with the bullies to try and round out the whole process, to try and work out where the communication is breaking down so that we can come full circle and have a better community.
Yes. Agreed. That sounds amazing, what you've got coming up. All right. Well, thank you for coming along. That's all I've got for you today. Thank you for coming and having a chat and talking about what Rising Sun Martial Arts is doing. Really appreciate it. And thank you for tuning in to the latest episode of the GSBC podcast, brought to you by the Greater Springfield Chamber of Commerce.